What's up? We're back again with another Jordan Peterson reaction, this time to the concept of mindfulness. If you haven't seen these, what I want you to do is first go down, hit like and subscribe. I'm gonna play right now.
How do you feel about mindfulness meditation to increase one's focus, discipline, and responsible actions? Technology easily derails us away into chaos.
Oh, I think that mostly mindful meditation is a fad. I mean, psychology is full of fads, and mindfulness is the fad that's been developing over about 5 to 10 years, and it's very poorly defined at a construct level, and so it's not easy to measure precisely what it is, and it's very difficult to measure its outcomes. So now, I'm speaking there as a clinical psychologist and a research psychologist. As a practice, meditation has been around for thousands of years, and I suspect that people who practice it diligently and integrate it with some of the metaphysical background that surrounds it might find all sorts of benefits from it. But mostly its Western incarnation is just the latest in a sequence of psychological fads. So that's how it looks to me.
Interesting, very interesting. This is a quick one, so let's expand on it a little bit. That's cool. At first, when I saw this video, I thought like, oh, he's hating on mindfulness. What a typical Western psychology kind of way to do it. When we realize that there are a lot of insights from Eastern philosophy that we can glean by taking it seriously. And what I get from this is there are a number of fads in psychology. Jordan Peterson has spoken about them before, one of them being around self-esteem. And he said that basically self-esteem as a marker was just kind of like an ugly construct of a number of different concepts in psychology and that are already well understood and well defined and have research to back it. So one thing is, in research, you need a term to be well defined so that it can be quantified, so that it can be measured, and so that you can measure outcomes, as he said, and that we can understand it better and incorporate it and gain insight about it. Now, if mindfulness is this thing that is kind of wishy-washy and isn't defined concretely in the literature, then it becomes hard to research and hard to take seriously. What comes to mind is John Vervaeke, if you've heard of him before. He discusses what you would call consciousness. But the thing is, consciousness as a term is so loosely defined. It's used all over the place in different ways. So he invented a new term called relevance realization, the capacity for the brain to understand something as relevant. And that kind of awareness for things manifesting themselves is often associated with the traditional idea of consciousness. So what he's presenting here and he's criticizing is kind of the idea of mindfulness as this kind of shallow, watered down Western version of mindfulness. And what the key thing there is that shows he's not dismissing it completely is when he talks about mindfulness being incorporated into a practice of your own with some of the metaphysical ideas from the philosophy behind mindfulness. So you could take Eckhart Tolle's literature on presence and the mindfulness associated with that, and you could understand the origins of that coming from Zen Buddhism. And if you have certain practices, if you have the practices of mindfulness and you pair them with the metaphysical beliefs around Zen Buddhism, then you get something that's whole and integrated and very powerful. Now, he's a big fan of appreciating and understand the metaphysical context of different practices that you have. He's talked about how multiculturalism, I believe he said this, is kind of just like the worst parts of a bunch of different cultures. It's just like a strip mall of stripped down, not very exciting, not very whole cultures. And you could see that same thing happen with mindfulness, where it kind of strips it of its challenging parts. It strips it of its source of growth and challenge. And he implicitly warns against that. He's not a fan of watered down version of deep philosophies and life-changing and important cultural ideas. He's a big fan of saving the baby with the bathwater. And I think if you're only really drinking the bathwater, not drinking the baby, that analogy kind of breaks down there, with Eastern philosophy and mindfulness, then you're missing out on something. So if you enjoyed this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I'm coming back with more. My name is Briede-Cooper. Have a good day.